What's up, guys? So let's talk ADHD for a minute here. You guys all know what ADHD is. It's basically where kids are, they're hyperactive, they can't pay attention. There's different forms of ADHD, and for the most part, it's just because it falls down to one of a couple things. They can't attend, or they're fidgety and they're hyperactive, and that's what the disorder is, or they're a combination of the two. What's nuts is this diagnosis is growing exponentially. I mean, back when I was a kid, there was very few people that had ADHD. It was the quote unquote, as we saw them, the problem kids, and they were on medicine back then. Ritalin was the kind of the go-to. Now Adderall seems to have taken the place of that. And that's a danger. These are dangerous drugs that they're putting people on and these kids on. But of course, when their behavior is out of control, sometimes that's the only thing that people can do to kind of stop it. And of course, most parents don't want to put their kids on these medications, but they don't seem to have a choice because otherwise the teachers won't tolerate and deal with these kids, especially if they're unmedicated. So you don't really have a whole lot of options. Even if you don't want to medicate your kid, you can homeschool them, but that's not for everyone. So what do you actually do to fix this? But before I dive into that, I just want to talk about the rise in proportion of ADHD in our society today. It is gone through the roof. It is literally, since 2007, it has risen by 16%. That is a lot. That is insane. Whenever you have anything like that, if the flu rose by 16%, then yearly, then we would be having pure panic across, widespread panic. It would be absolutely nuts. When it's because it's ADHD, people kind of just don't really pay attention to it. Like, oh man, it seems like kids are getting crazier, more restless, more hyper, and we're just more or less brushing it under the rug, as opposed to asking the questions: is why is this happening? What is going on here? And really, the brain in these kids they're out of balance. You got your left side of your brain, your right side of your brain. This gets really complex, but basically your brain has to have stimulation that is equal on the left side and on the right side. And that will help to balance out how the brain operates and how it literally controls movement, how it controls thinking, how it controls focus. The brain is getting stimulation from your body and from your environment. And that's where whenever you feel or you move, that's why exercise feels so good, to just even go for a walk, because it's literally feeding your brain with information that it needs in order to survive, because your brain needs information to survive from the nerves. So these kids that are in class and they're fidgeting and they can't stop moving, it's because their brain is not getting adequate information just by sitting still. Usually, even when you're sitting still, your brain is sending from your body a lot of information that goes up, 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 up. These kids aren't getting it. So what do they have to do? They have to fidget, they have to move, they have to constantly create extra stimulation that the typical person doesn't need in order to feed the brain and balance out their brain. So, we're punishing these kids, or we're drugging them, saying, hey, we're gonna give you a stimulant to help to basically take the place of you having to fidget. So we're gonna basically make your nerves go crazy inside of your head so that you don't have to fidget and move. That is a stupid way to solve this issue, but it helps behaviorally, so people will actually, they'll do it, because again, you ultimately kind of want the result of them not getting kicked out of school, not having disciplinary action taken against them, when really these kids are not, they're kind of out of their own control. They can't not fidget, and so you put them on these meds to stop them from fidgeting, but you're literally giving them a very powerful drug that your body can become not only addicted to, it doesn't need. So what it needs is the proper stimulation. What we see is that when people start getting under neurologically based chiropractic care, we don't do popping, twisting, or cracking, nothing wrong with that. Our technique just works really well at realigning how the nerves are sending signals up to the brain, how your brain processes it and sends the signals back down to your body, so that literally you can now get proper information. Your brain and your body works the way that it was intended to, which is correctly. Because again, we're not made with junk, we're not made accidentally, the body doesn't do anything stupidly. Kids are fidgeting. Why are they fidgeting? Because they need information in order for their brain to work and to thrive and to grow. So if they're not getting it, they're gonna do something in order to get it, which is to fidget. And so we wanna make sure that they can literally think, sit, chill, and still be feeding their brain, just as you and I are sitting around doing the same thing. And we don't need to drug them in order to basically give them amphetamines or similar to cocaine in order to stimulate their brain so they don't have to fidget. And that's what the stimulants are actually doing. So we want to see kids get off of these unnecessary drugs. Now 10% of kids are being diagnosed with ADHD. That is way too many, way too many. I mean, you shouldn't have any because, again, it's something that's fixable. You get your brain and body reconnected. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens over time when you start to rebuild those pathways, and the kids will start to improve their behavior. They'll actually learn better in school, and those behavior issues, and your bad kid will start to no longer be a bad kid. He's just acting out almost as if a dog is going, I'm relating your kid to a dog here, but if your dog is misbehaving, it's usually because it's trying to get something, right? If it's upset or it's got a stomach ache, it's not going to listen to you very well because it's trying to deal with its own stuff. Your kids, if they're not getting the proper information, they're not going to behave well because they have to do something in order for their brain to work. And after a while, they just get fed up with being in trouble all the time, and they just take the label of being a bad kid, and then that has other consequences. But if we can stop this and kind of nip this in the bud early so that they can start getting proper information, they can learn, and it'll set them on the path to success for the rest of their life. So I hope that you find this valuable, and you can do something with it. If you're in Northwest Arkansas, we're located in Rogers. I'm Dr. Lee Horine with Ignite Chiropractic, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day.